Hi,
Hi,
Gia.
everybody.
Oh
It sounds
man.
like we're drinking, but I'm drinking seltzer.
And I'm just drinking tap water, although in this part of Maine, tap water is the equivalent of Poland Spring bottled water. That's right. This is the
That's
area where they
true.
get that water from, so
Yeah, it's bougie tap water.
it really is, yeah. So there you go.
I do
Um,
miss the tap water in Maine. I will say that. But,
yeah, it's nice. It's nice and crisp.
yeah. So General Hospital, we want to talk about it, right?
We do? I thought we had other business.
Oh, you want? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about badgers first. Yeah.
Yeah. You might think that Gia and I are professionals on and off
I
the
don't think
air.
you are thinking that. But I don't think there's a. I love how our one listener like messages us
It tries to keep us on track.
to tell us
Ellen.
that that what's his name? What's her name's? Joss's handler is named Vaughn.
No, I think it's auberge. I think she said it was auberge.
What? Oh, bears.
Wouldn't that be a
That's
fun
a
name?
cheese. But no, so it's Vaughn. We have to remember that. I'm like, oh, that's helpful. And I read your taunting replies to her. That's kind of mean. But
No, I was just sticking up for what I thought his name should be.
Claude, because I think it
Claude.
has that aw sound in the middle. Is that like a schwa?
Yeah, it's the AU. Yeah, we were
Yeah,
we were sort of overlapping the real name in
we
a
were on track.
way.
Vaughn,
Yeah.
Vaughn. But I love
Vaughn.
the image of her just screaming as she's listening
Every
to
time.
us. I bet a lot of people are screaming at us.
I know, which makes me
Yeah.
maybe we should set up like a toll-free number for people who listen to this podcast and are
And who
driven
then
crazy by us.
and then they need some debriefing afterwards or whatever. Yeah.
Some sort of therapy, some way to sort of vent or
Yeah.
cope with the frustration that we create.
But what
We're
was the business you wanted to bring up before we started talking about General
before
Hospital?
you nod off.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gia, I don't know if you got this, everybody, but Gia loves the ponies. Gia loves
Yeah.
a horse,
And of
and
course
the lead ponies. If you thought she was done talking about that last time,
I'm trying to
she's
stop.
not. She's not. She's not done.
There
Put
were
your children
two.
to bed.
There
Protect
were
your children.
two. There were two lead ponies at the Kentucky Derby that were Sugarbush Harlequins.
And
Not just
wait. See how that rolls off her tongue now? Sugarbush Harlequins. Like she's been saying it for years.
I've been reading up on them quite a bit. Anyway, I just thought, well, that isn't that cool. Two of them, not just Harley the Magnificent. I forget what the other one's name is. I'll find out.
Oh,
But
yeah, you better. You can't just play
anyway,
favorites.
so we were talking about that, and then for some reason we started talking about badgers.
Yeah, we do. A lot of times our conversations will turn to badgers.
We've talked about badgers a lot over the years, but we have a question. So we were talking about terriers that
Yeah.
are bred to go after badgers and
Which is
other small
if
stuff. But
anybody who's ever watched Westminster, I'm sure you've heard them say when they describe so many terriers that they were bred to get rid of badgers. So we're concerned about why badgers got such a bad name.
yeah, we're just wondering, what is it that badgers are doing that causes you to create a whole dog breed to eradicate them?
Such a funny way to think of it. Like there's a group of people in a meeting. Like we've got to create something that can get rid of these badgers. I know we have guns. Sure, we could shoot them, but wouldn't it be fun to create some cute little dogs?
like deceptively cute.
Like the Dandy Dinmont, for instance, with their big eyes and their top
when they were
knot.
badger killers.
Oh, sure. Did you ever see a badger at our house? No.
I know that our Jack Russell wanted to eradicate the cat. He's like, that's just a weird looking badger.
Maybe. So they see everything you think as a variation of a
It's yeah,
badger.
either and like badger or not badger, will it live or will it die? But anyway, so we're wondering if people out there, and
Yeah,
I'm
like
thinking this came from England, right? And we
I
have
think so, yeah, or
some English,
Scotland, yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, if we have anybody from Great Britain listening, well, first of
What
all,
tell us
thank
what were
you,
the
and
badgers doing?
yeah, if you know some of the lore, behind the Badger Terrier feud
Relationship, sort of symbiotic,
relationship.
but and not really, I guess.
Yeah, and, I think, yeah, if you wanted to reach out to us, via Facebook or,
I love a terrier though, so I have to say
I
thank you
do
to the
too,
badger, you know,
for inspiring
for
humanity
inspiring me to
to
create the
create
terrier.
a wide variety of terriers.
Yeah, like, well,
Yeah.
we can send this one down a hole after a, badger or whatever.
Oh,
Anyway,
man. Do you
um,
get the feeling like there's nobody listening now?
it probably shouldn't be, but
The people
le-
the people who are using us to for their commute to make their commute more pleasant, I'm afraid they're probably getting out of their cars right now.
maybe they're just pondering the badger conundrum.
Maybe,
Um,
maybe,
we can
hopefully.
shift over to General Hospital though, like we're supposed to.
Okay, let's try that. Let's
All
try
right.
that. Thank you.
We had a fair amount of stuff going on. My God.
Oh, we
Good
had so much
God.
yelling. There was so much
More
yelling again.
yelling. Yeah.
I don't like all of that. And I also um I don't like not liking Dante.
I know they're turning Dante into a massive asshole.
Total asshole. And Lulu, sure, we knew she was kind of a problem at this point, but
Yes.
Dante too, now they seem like they do deserve each other.
Yeah, I know. They're both kind of like Lulu is a little bit of a terrier,
She
like,
is, that's true. That's true.
yeah.
She's tenacious and yeah. Mhm.
Um, but anyway, yeah. And it's annoying because it's all plot driven. This shift in
Yeah.
Dante's
Yeah.
personality. Like, we've never
Yeah.
seen Dante be a total ass like this, have we?
No, I don't think we have, Gia. That's a very good point. Yeah, it's sort of a manufactured wrinkle in his personality,
And
and,
it's not necessary. Like, I know it's because
no.
they want to make that moment when the big reveal that Geo is your son, I am your father. Um, like they want to make that so huge, and to have
Yeah.
them be at odds with each other when that happens will make it, I don't know what,
Mhm,
more
mhm.
heartbreaking or gut wrenching or um,
Yeah.
vomit inducing or whatever it's going to be.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so that's why they're doing this. But why are they have to be so heavy handed about it?
So heavy-handed, and I mean, if they really stay true to, like, the impact of this on Geo, I thought he Geo did a really good job, especially when he was talking to Emma about this is going to affect a lovely sensitive boy like Geo. He's not going to be able to just shake this off.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And he showed some real acting chops. I mean, up until this
Yeah.
point we haven't really
Yeah.
seen him do much too much.
No, but, like,
Um
especially when he said, now he sees how what Dante really thinks of him, and that's, like, a really shitty feeling?
yeah. And I thought if they were going to do this, they should have laid a little bit of groundwork earlier on
Yeah.
about Dante having observed how Geo was raised, that he was
Yeah.
overprotected or whatever it is he feels.
Yeah, but
We
he
didn't have an inkling of this up until this
No,
point.
no,
And
and Gio's been such a well-behaved young man, like above reproach pretty much, I would say, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. And so I get the whole like, okay, so Dante he was so terrified and he's
Yeah,
lashing out and blaming
yeah,
somebody else. But
mhm,
this is kind of ridiculous to, I
yeah.
don't know, to have him be so obsessed with blaming Geo. Um,
Yeah, and Dante is usually he's nothing if not fair, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
one of his great qualities is that he's always looking at both sides and trying to be balanced and
yeah, he's like the
rational.
level-headed one that talks Sonny off a
Yeah.
ledge all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I liked Sonny's attempt at sort of schooling Dante in how boys behave, including Dante himself, but didn't seem like he had
Yeah.
much impact there.
Yeah, and who was it that finally pointed out that, like, maybe you should have known where your kid was?
Yeah,
Which person
yeah.
finally, like,
Was
actually
that
said that?
Lois, or
I
Lois
don't know.
mentioned it, like that he was just reacting because he wasn't there when his son needed him.
Yeah,
That
maybe that's
Lois
what I'm
said that.
thinking of. But
Did did
all this yelling about you, it's your
Mhm,
fault, it's your fault. It's like, well, you
mhm.
were the one that blew off going to the Woodchucks game
Yeah.
and weren't observing where your son was going after that. Like,
Mhm. Right, right. And, and like Sonny said, I mean, imagine like you and me and our brothers and stuff at that age, like, would there have been any way to keep tabs on kids,
oh no, I mean, that's why I think about myself, and I know you probably don't believe this, but I was a
I
really
don't.
good kid.
Yeah, no, I believe it, 'cause I was too, more
I
or
was
less.
I was really pretty much a straight arrow.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and that was kind of part of my cover when I did do stuff, you know? Like, because they suspected my brother Russ of,
I know, I
doing
know.
something, but they wouldn't
Yeah,
think that I was, and I was so
right,
nerdy
right.
and shy and everything. But
Yeah, yeah.
like, I went to a college party once,
Mhm, mhm.
and
Yeah.
like, think about how that, like, I was such an uber dork, and I'm sure they didn't know
Mhm,
where I was. They didn't know,
mhm.
they wouldn't have had
Yeah,
any clue. And it
yeah.
was awkward and awful, and I was sorry I was there.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
think I had enough time to drink enough to get my stomach pumped or anything, but
Yeah.
I don't remember how we got it. It was like a frat party or something.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Anyway, it's all kind of hazy. But due to the passage of time, not alcohol and drug use. It was a long damn time ago. But
There's a lot. I could almost feel all the heads shaking out
yeah,
there.
I know, I know. I mean, I've made myself sound like I was some party animal or something. I really wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
um anyway, uh yeah, exactly, like, kids that age, and kids were getting their stomachs pumped left and right from my high school.
That's how the doctors and nurses practice other stuff, is on the
I mean,
kids.
the drinking was rampant,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Mhm.
that's a real hard age to, police, and,
It is. It really is. So, yeah, Dante.
I'm surprised there's not more injury and
Mhm,
death in that age group.
mhm. Me too, man. I mean, my brothers they were doing
Young
stuff.
bodies can really bounce back from stuff
Yeah, but they
old
totaled a
bodies can't.
lot of
Yeah.
cars. It's, like, amazing that
Yeah,
they're all
yeah.
still alive to talk about it,
My brother totaled a car, yeah.
Yeah,
I never totaled a car, but,
no, me neither. I did drive a car right through the garage doors that my dad had built by hand.
like, you put it in forward instead of
Yeah,
reverse or
yeah,
something?
yeah. I was rushing off to get donuts.
Of course. Were you and what was the punishment for that? Did you blame Geo?
Yeah, my dad just killed Gio. He was so mad at Gio. No, no punishment really. My mom laughed, I think.
I remember my mom trying to yell at me, I may have told this story before, but one of my brothers was getting married, so I'm in high school,
Mhm.
and so my other brother and my brothers haven't, they already have like a little house, he and his wife to be.
Huh,
And so there's like a party going on, a kind of a bachelor party or whatever, night before the wedding,
uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
I'm there, and I'm just, what a fabulous time! Like, why haven't I met all these college boys, Alan? They're so awesome, So I'm drunk as a skunk, and just having such a good time, and like, God, all these people, all these boys are just marvelous, and then my older brother,
All these
unfortunately, he
boys are
got
just marvelous.
yeah, my older brother unfortunately got drunk and a little bit out of hand, and he uh, anyway, we had to be like picked up and taken home.
I can picture you in the back of the car.
I know. And we were in such trouble. And oh, that was bad. And my poor parents, they were probably stressed out of their minds just doing the wedding itself,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
anyway, I remember my mother like the next day trying to, kind of like give me a hard time about
yeah.
it wasn't in her nature.
No, I can't picture
Um,
it. Yep.
and
Lovely,
my other
gentle
brother
soul.
had gotten so belligerent and out of hand that my infraction, I was just
Yeah,
giggly,
yeah,
happy drunk, and he was
yeah.
like belligerent and throwing punches and stuff. It's not really funny. He grew up to be a very nice man. Anyway, just to illustrate, young people do stupid stuff.
Yeah. Yes, they do, Gia. Yes, they do.
And it's not
So
all Geo's fault, I guess.
I feel like poor Gio. He was I mean, it's a classic case of no good deed going unpunished, you know?
Right,
He's
right. Yeah.
and you at his age, you do wanna sort of protect the boys, from trouble. You don't wanna get them in trouble, and, it
Right,
kills you to
right.
have to bust them.
Yeah, and perfectly logical to lie him on his side and give him a bucket and,
Yep, yep,
um
mhm.
so yeah, I mean it was so anyway, I just think the writers are overdoing this.
Yeah,
I think we
definitely.
could have the same impact when the big reveal
Mhm,
happens without
mhm.
being so heavy-handed about it.
Yeah,
Um
right. Yeah, without any of this really, you know?
yeah, right,
Uh,
right. And then we had so many
um,
teasers where like, oh, we think Lois is
yeah,
about to reveal. We
yeah,
don't know who
mhm,
he is, and it's like, oh.
mhm, yeah, and of course now Lulu's got that, she's sort of putting it together and
Yeah, but we thought she'd already put it together. It seemed like there was a little delay, like,
yeah, yeah, I
but
know.
anyway, she's gonna be unbearable from here on out.
Unbearable, yeah, I mean, it's all terrible. I don't like it.
Unbearable Lulu. Um,
Yeah, man.
so we got that big thing going on. What did you
Yeah,
think of the scene with Carly giving
mhm. Danny?
Danny his little talk?
I really liked that scene, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little bit out of the blue, you because we don't see them together very often. When we do, it seems like she's lovely with Danny, and I thought it was good for him to have, like, another sort of parental figure sort of weighing in, but in a kind of, level-headed manner.
Yeah,
Danny's kind of he so far, he's the one who's gotten off with the least sort of
I
yelling, it
know,
seems,
I
you
know.
know?
But I also feel like, I mean, we know that Danny talked Rocco into the party and that Rocco didn't want to
Yeah.
go, but
Mhm.
like, it's not necessarily Danny's fault that they both went to this party.
Right,
Like, you
right.
should have been watching him. It's like, well, why? Like,
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Right, I know, there's no real code that says if you go to a
Mm.
party, you stick with
Yeah,
each
you
o
got to
you know?
stay. Yeah, like,
I mean, at that age, I think you sort of do what you feel like you wanna do, and the problem is Rocco is just such a he seems like the one who's super protected, and doesn't know
right.
how to
I know. He
navigate a
didn't.
situation.
I mean, even if I'd had my stomach pumped, my father would have been in my face at the hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there wouldn't have
Mhm.
been this, like, we love you and here's a stuffed animal. And I
Yeah,
mean,
he
there
did
probably would have been later, but,
Mhm,
but they would
mhm,
have been terrified and they would have, but my
mhm,
dad would have, um,
mhm,
probably been pretty
mhm.
stern. Um,
Yeah, I think he would have, yeah. Yeah, I think Rocco should have probably borne the brunt of it in a way, right?
yeah, I mean, of course, he feels guilty and horrible as he
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
mhm,
should, but,
mhm,
anyway,
mhm.
I initially didn't like that Carly was speaking to Danny because I was like, why she
No.
sticks her beak into everything? But then I was like, right, he doesn't have a mother anymore.
Yeah,
She's kind of stepping
exactly.
in.
Yeah, and she's
Um,
also thinking of Jason and what he might want, I think.
yeah, and then like you said, the level-headed tone
Mhm.
was nice. Like, she wasn't like doing histrionics about,
Right, right. She was sort of stern and honest, I think, but not, like, just trying to beat him down.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
Sasha too. Sasha, I thought, was also
yeah,
really
yeah,
nice,
that was kind of
sweet,
nice. Although
you
that
know?
choice of how you're going to react was a little bit weird, like that
Yeah,
too.
it was.
I was like, where are you going with this? What is
I
that?
know, it seemed like he thought that too,
Yeah,
like, "Where's that coming
yeah.
from?"
Like you could
Is
do
that a
the responsible thing, but you could also be a psychopath.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know. I guess she was sort of setting up a little test for him, but,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was weird. I didn't get
Yeah,
what was happening
yeah.
there.
And then I was also thinking, like, throughout that conversation, like, she's made a deal with Sidwell, of all people, you know?
Yeah, she's not necessarily a beacon of
No,
good
sort of
good choices either.
yeah, right. But nice to Danny, and I think the more
Yes.
sort of adults he has that, that he knows care about him,
Yeah, yeah. But
is good.
then Dante shows up and he's going to be an asshat
Yeah.
with Jason now, and it's
I
like,
know, just when they were starting to get along. It's like,
yeah,
so much of the good stuff that we were enjoying last week and before is evaporating, you
and
know?
just turns into yelling, and it's going to
Yeah.
separate the brothers.
Yeah. That wouldn't be good, I
Yeah,
don't think.
and I don't know, that whole idea of separating kids when somebody's a bad influence, that always
Mhm.
backfires, I think.
Yeah, 'cause at that age, they don't really understand. Like, you can't make your case, really, I don't think,
Yeah.
to kids.
Um,
Like
so I think that's sad if they're gonna really try to keep them
Yeah.
apart. They've already
Yeah.
lost, Scout,
Scout, yeah, she's been locked in a room at Alexis's house.
apparently, and she
Yeah.
sleeps soundly.
All the time, yes. Maybe
Yeah.
they've got her drugged with
Right. A little ketamine in your cocoa.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of segues into we had a big scene with Rik and Ava
Yeah.
um, with their little visit with Alexis, and then
I like seeing those 2 bopping around
I
town
know,
together like the cat's meow.
I know, and Rick's like makeup, the little cut, all he's got left on his
Yeah.
head, looked like somebody just drawn on it with a Bic pen or
I
something. It
know,
was so
like a
weird looking.
Y or something, like, what's happening there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like
And
a
there were
bad Frankenstein.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and then there was, like, one shot where, like, Ava's leaning on the fireplace with such an expression on her face,
I
like
know. I know, they're a funny duo. I didn't know I needed
yeah.
them, but I guess I like them. And he's like set up this corporation now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Shell Corporation. I don't know
Mhm.
about those.
I don't think
I
we'll
like
ever
I
need
like
to know
shells.
about
I
those.
like to go to the beach.
Yeah,
Um,
sure, sure. Mhm.
and there's that weird thing happening with Cody, like seeing that card, like,
Yeah, he'll probably
what's
do a
up
little
with
digging
that?
about that. Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
also he knows Molly now, and so maybe has some vested
Oh,
in
yeah,
right?
that's a connection there. Yeah, I couldn't figure out where they. I thought maybe he was going to try and keep it and like go for a little,
Yeah, I did
ending
too.
spree or something.
Yeah, but he's trying to be a good boy too, right?
Yeah, but anyway, what did you think of Christina's little speech to Rick and Ava? Did you buy that?
Well, I'm not sure I did. She's still trying to get away with something, right? I mean, she's still not confessing. So, yeah, I don't know if she can sort of be absolved of her sins with a partial confession,
Yeah.
or a nice speech. What do you
Well, I
think?
mean, she could truly feel those things and just be still
Yeah.
be being a chicken shit and not
Not want to deal with
messing
the
up. Yeah.
consequences.
But
Yeah.
I just don't know if I believe she's really
Yeah.
feeling those things,
Right, right. She
or if
might
she's not trying
even
to do a snow job on everybody still. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and, maybe she's even sort of brainwashed herself, into thinking she's really a good person and shouldn't be agonizing over her choices because she does feel sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
right.
don't know.
She has remorse. Like, and when
Right.
she and Lucky were having their conversation, when she told him
Yeah.
about the
Uh-huh.
commitment papers, and
Uh-huh.
like, why did neither of them, why has it not occurred to them that Alexis knows?
Right, I kept hoping that light bulb would go off, Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of this is the kind of stuff I hate when people are being blamed for things they didn't do or taking credit for things they didn't do, and I feel like Alexis is getting all this shit, from
Yeah,
Molly, and I
and
mean,
just taking it. She's just taking it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so I don't know, I don't like that.
I don't like that. Yeah.
I
And then
don't.
actually, we had a conversation with she and Diane where she revealed more information to
Yeah.
Diane, and
Mhm.
Diane also like I still was wondering if Diane didn't like let that paper get mixed up on
Yeah.
purpose. Like
Yeah,
there was
right.
something in her tone or
Mhm.
attitude that made me think maybe she did do that. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and yeah, that it did seem like it was deliberate. I mean, because she deliberately didn't destroy those papers either and kept them, like,
Right.
with
Right.
her, when she should
Yeah.
have put them at least in a safe place in the office.
Mm,
I
so
don't
we
know.
don't know what's up. We don't
Yeah.
know what's up there. Excuse me. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, mm-mm.
Yeah, so that's all messy, all messy.
That's all messy.
Mhm.
And then the other big thing that's cooking now is Joss and
Oh, yeah.
Vaughn. And I have to
Are you
yell it every
sure
time.
that's
Vaughn!
it?
I think of Vince Vaughn. Isn't that an actor, Vince
Yeah,
Vaughn?
that's an actor, you're right, Gia, that's an
Okay, so I'll try
actor.
to remember it through that, Vaughn.
Or maybe
Um,
we could call him Vince. Would that be fine
that would probably
with
be
Ellen?
aggravating to our listener. Um, anyway, and then the reveal with that conversation with Emma that Dalton is
Yeah,
actually a bad
he's a
guy.
bad guy, yeah, perhaps creating biological weapons and testing them on bunnies who already have eyes full of
Bunnies,
mascara,
right? Bunnies that are wearing false eyelashes and lipstick,
all whored up.
many layers of all tarted up.
We're
You don't
ridiculous.
know that bunnies don't want to wear makeup, you know? Like,
That's true. I shouldn't act like I'm
I wonder how the
judging.
badgers feel about cosmetics.
Mm, maybe there's some sort of jealousy because the bunnies are the ones who get to look beautiful.
The bunnies, yeah. Why did they choose the bunnies, do you think? Just much more docile than a badger.
I think, yeah, that was probably one one check in the bunny column. We're giving you, everybody out there, a real glimpse into how all of these things work, you
How it all
know?
comes together.
None of
Yeah.
it's very straightforward or what you think.
Why did they choose rabbits for animal testing? We don't know. They're so soft.
So soft.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Um,
Uh.
I wore mascara today, but I did not look as beautiful as a rabbit.
As a bunny.
I could never be as beautiful as a rabbit.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
they're
bunnies, there's
beautiful.
not much that's cuter than a bunny. I'm sure you would say one of those sugar
Well,
bush things,
the sugar harlequin. I don't think they're pretty. They are magnificent though.
Mhm. Yeah, okay.
They're chunky.
Are they all chunky?
I think so. I mean, they're part draft horse, so
So that's
they're
the
part Percheron and they're
one of
part
the qualities
Appalachia.
of a draft horse is they're heavy, huh? Thick.
You don't even know what a draft horse is. What did you do with your childhood?
It wasn't like studying horses. I'm not sure everybody was, Gia.
I feel like they were, at least at some point. Like most little girls were horse crazy for some portion of their childhood, don't you think?
Well, maybe. You think I was just the exception then?
I'm wondering.
If that was like a dot, dot, dot kind of wondering.
Anyway, yes, draft horses are big and chunky and strong, and generally they're luckily they're pretty docile and good natured and easygoing.
So you could test eye makeup on a draft horse,
They would
possibly.
look beautiful, like a Clydesdale,
Uh-huh.
a little gloss.
Just putting that out there as a suggestion.
Yeah, luckily they're,
Okay.
but like so Clydesdales, like the Clydesdale, what a Clydesdale
Yeah,
looks like.
yeah.
That's a big draft horse, yeah.
Right, right. Mhm. Yeah,
I mean, there's
okay.
lots of different draft horses, but generally they're big. They use them to pull stuff, and
Mhm.
they're
Hence
super strong.
the heft. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm,
they're really strong. Yeah. Yep.
mhm. When an oxen just won't do.
Yes. I don't know much about oxen. Are they really easy to work with? I'm not sure.
I don't I they're divas, that's what I hear.
All right. Oh, let's get back to General Hospital. Oh my God.
It's
Um,
okay. Well, before we leave the topic of, Alexis and
Diana.
Diane. Oh god.
Uh,
I thought it was kinda shitty and with no surprise really that Marco was sort of, like, giving that table full of people a brief on Sonny and how to, like, go about, like, taking him down. Didn't that seem a little shitty if he's working
yeah,
at the
I think he's a little douchebag, possibly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think he may be a douchebag, yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think Lucas is gonna like rue the day he just let fine looking Brad get on the elevator and
In his
take
beautiful
off
suit.
in his
Yeah.
beautiful new suit. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sad. I'm like, are we truly losing Brad as a character?
I
You
don't
think?
wanna believe that.
I
I
don't
really
either.
don't. Yeah, and do we think did Drew just cut him a check for $1,000,000 just like that?
Well, what was the other thing he had to do? Like he was gonna
We
give him
didn't
half a million and then he
Yeah,
was like I'll
yeah.
double it for
Right,
whatever. And then we
right.
weren't privy to what the
No,
thing
we
was
were
that he had to do.
not, but I thought maybe Brad was gonna try to get a recording of Portia saying what she had him do, but he didn't really try
Oh,
very hard when he talked to her, right? He
when he
just
went in
handed
there,
her his
right.
letter and
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of threatened her like that somebody else was gonna blackmail her now. So yeah,
Huh.
I don't know. Or maybe part of it was that he was leaving town. Maybe he's supposed to be going to do some other thing for Drew in let's say
Yeah.
Beecher's Corners.
Beecher's Corners. That's where he's going with his big bucks. Hopefully
Gonna
all
get
will be
a
revealed
in
about that.
Beecher's Corners.
Yeah. Did you like that picture of Drew that I sent you?
Yeah, thanks.
That was like somewhere on Facebook, and so it was
Uh-huh.
like a whole series of Drew, um, the not Drew, but the actor Cameron,
Mhm. Mhm.
and him in running gear, and it was like a series of him. And the
Yeah.
first comment under it was, "I hope that's him running away from General Hospital." It's like, oh, that's kind of mean.
It is, but he's gonna have a mighty target on his back now, isn't he? Um,
Um, from Nina, you mean like the whole crew, like everybody that's
yeah, like all of that, and then plus now that he's really like putting the screws to Portia, she's gonna be getting super desperate, I think.
yeah, yeah, he might find himself dead. Like
He
I mean,
may.
I
He
felt like that was what was going to be happening all along, but I think they've turned him
Yeah,
into such a
yeah,
great bad guy that they'd be stupid to
yeah.
get rid of him because
Mhm,
he's
mhm,
really got some chops for the bad guy
mhm.
stuff, the
He
evil yuppie
does,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was sort of awful and kind of interesting how Sidwell was delighted that he was
Oh,
such a
Sidwell,
bad
that was the
guy,
only time I've liked him, that he was like
Yeah,
laughing his head off at the table.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was kind of making me laugh watching him laugh.
Mhm, mhm, yep.
Um, yeah, but he's found his like a good evil partner for things, I think.
He has, yeah, right, right,
And
yeah.
then they'll just use that putsy Boyle guy for like an
Oh, that Boyle guy.
sort of their
Oh,
figurehead or yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't like Tracy rubbing elbows with these people.
I know. She's like the means to the end kind of thing on this, and it's
Yeah,
like yeah,
yeah.
she's thrown
Mhm.
in with some really questionable folks here.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about her except for what she can do for
Yeah.
them. And I still don't really understand why she would have such a hatred of Sonny. I mean, I do, but I
It
kind of
that
feel
feels like
like
another kind of like with Dante, like it's
yeah,
manufactured for this plot
yeah,
line because
uh-huh,
I mean, we didn't see her loving Sonny, but it wasn't like
right,
a vendetta that she's been carrying all these years
right,
with
and
her.
yeah, like, honestly, if you're gonna pick between Sonny and Sidwell, I don't know, I would think she'd be torn at least, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Sonny's doing well, huh?
Yeah.
Post surgery. Are you just up and about in your dress pants like post heart
After
surgery? Like
yeah, yeah, you are, yeah. I don't know, I guess you didn't know that.
no lingering soreness? Did they crack open his chest or did they go in?
I think they must have opened his chest up, right? But, with a
Maybe they
little
can snake something
Neosporin
in through
yeah.
your groin or something. They're
All the
always
way up
doing that.
into
Whenever people tell
through
me
your
like, "No, they
groin,
didn't. They
yeah.
just went. They sent something up through my groin." I'm like, "Oh Jesus, I'd rather
Uh,
like I
uh,
don't know the
I
thought of anything being snaked up through your groin. It's pretty awful, isn't it?"
Just hearing you say the words is awful. Making it up through your groin. Oh, is that what brings you do you like saying that as much as I like saying throw a clot?
Yeah, all our medical terms.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
but did you notice when Sonny was talking to Dante that Dante had more gray than Sonny did?
Well, yeah, everybody has more gray than like Sonny's like got an entire bottle of shoe polish on there. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It was so
yeah.
that's like the one time I kinda noticed it, without, like, you pointing it out. It
Yeah,
was
oh,
very,
really?
very,
Yeah.
very conspicuous, yeah. I'm not good
And
with
I
details like that usually.
Dante was even just kind of an asshat. It was like he'd forgotten that his father had just had massive surgery. He was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
okay, like, but and then
I
it's like, oh, you
know.
doing all right? Because I'm ready to unload on you. I'm gonna tell you all my
I
shitty thoughts.
know.
You know,
Yeah, that's no good. I mean, yeah, I know this all could have triggered a lot of deep-seated fears in Dante
I
with
hope
all the
nobody
loss
clicks
he's
a
suffered.
frickin' pen around him.
That's right. Yeah, imagine that, Gia. Maybe it would sort of throw him back into those days where he was
But I
very
kind of sense that these writers
traumatized.
don't know about that.
Maybe not. Maybe so they'll wouldn't it be funny if they, like, inadvertently had someone clicking a pen and
Clicking a
then
pen and
the character didn't care that the writers didn't know that that
he
was a
just goes
trigger.
off. He goes ballistic. Well, that was the only other time I think in my memory where Dante was a complete asshat, but it was because he
Yeah,
had PTSD, and he
yeah.
was
Mhm,
out of
mhm.
his head.
Right,
I guess
right.
maybe he's out of his head now, but it's very unpleasant. I don't
Very
like that.
unpl I don't either. Yeah, and especially because Dante was one of our favorites, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't like it when they mess with, like, the pillars of the community too much,
right.
you
Um,
know?
we didn't. I'm shifting from Dante now because we didn't really
Okay.
talk about Joss and
Oh, yeah,
Emma.
I'm sorry, yeah, we bounced
We
away from
started
that,
to, but
yeah. Mhm, mhm,
so what a lovely scene. And
mhm.
Emma said a great line that I'd like to use on somebody. Maybe I'll use it on you, but um, something about it was surprisingly great talking to you. Like I'm paraphrasing, but do you remember when she said that? And it was like it was so funny.
I look forward to hearing you use that line on me.
Well, and now I might have to use it on somebody else now because
I'll have forgotten it in a
you
few
won't
weeks, you
be
can try.
surprised. Yeah, but it was such a backhanded kind of compliment. It was
Yeah,
funny, but
yeah. Yep. I like that they're sort of, I mean, Emma is so sincere, I think, in how she feels about everything. Like she's not
Yeah,
toying, she's
yeah.
not really toying with anybody. And even like that comment, it's like it sort of says everything. Like she didn't really like her before, but now she's come around and you know,
Yeah, and it's just gonna be so heartbreaking. I wish that
uh
Joss would like reveal
yeah.
who she is now and what she's doing, and they could team up. You know?
I know that would be such a bad spy sort of thing to do, but it would be a fun Joss and Emma thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. It would really make Vaughn very angry. Vaughn would.
Who's Vaughn now?
Who is this Vaughn you're always talking about?
Oh, God. God.
You know what's funny is I think we did early on know that his name was Vaughn and talked about how that it was a weird name, and then we forgot and started calling him Claude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
Vaughn wasn't working for us, you know?
It's sort of uncommon. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a older generation sort of a name,
I
not
don't
a
think I've
young
ever
fella.
met anybody named Vaughn.
I know one Vaughn, and he's probably
You do?
70. Yeah,
Wow.
my friend Brenda's husband,
Is he
Vaughn.
hot? Does he have nice hair?
I don't like this side of you.
I'm looking up. How common is the name?
Oh god,
How do you
that's
think you
yeah.
spell it? VAUHN?
UGHN. It would be one, I guess, maybe the common spelling.
Relatively uncommon as a first name, but more prevalent when used as a surname. Okay.
That doesn't really answer the question, does it?
In 2024, I'll give you some stats. In 2024, it ranked as the 1,773rd most popular name for boys.
That still seems high,
That
doesn't
does
it?
seem a little high, doesn't it?
Although, could you think of more than like 10 boys' names? I don't think I could.
Yeah, I'm sure I could. I mean, do you know more than 10 guys? Yeah. Like,
But
so just start naming people you know. They're not all named, you know, Chad or I don't know.
I don't know a single Chad. Um
Um, I mean, are you challenging me to name? Is that what
I
we're doing
yeah,
now?
I'm thinking how would this impact your relationship with your husband if
How
if
many
you were to
guys'
try to
names I can
meet
say?
the
I was
you'd
gonna
be
say his name first as my like. I was
Yep.
gonna say Trent,
Mhm.
okay,
Okay.
Johnny.
My
I
brother,
mean,
my
just
fear
naming all your brothers is a pretty quick, Trent, Johnny, Charlie, Clay,
Mhm,
Chris.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm. Yeah, okay.
Russell, Alan. Like
Mhm, your
I'm at
brothers.
7 right now, and
Okay.
this is
Alright.
just within our families. For like,
And then we could do our dads. Alright, so we could do 10, but 1,000, like, so
oh
Vaughn
no, I
Vaughn
couldn't
was
name a facet.
that's
Yeah,
a lot of names, isn't it? Even
yeah,
100 seems like a lot of names.
yeah.
Alright, yeah, the challenge is to see if you can and you don't have to do it right now because 'cause we've already been exasperating,
You're
but
welcome.
100 see how easy it is to come up with 100 names for men, okay? In your spare
Names
time.
for men. Names for men.
So that would be a nice little break from thinking about the sugar
The
bush,
sugar bush harlequin.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
mhm.
Thanks.
So you can have your husband thank me for getting you off of that topic.
Yeah, yeah. But he's equally exasperating with the basketball stuff, and
Yeah. Okay.
apparently the Celtics lost so exasperatingly last night. He's like saying things like, "I almost think it's some kind of a scam." Like
So there's a conspiracy theory
yeah,
around the
yeah. There's
Celtics now?
like he's making
Uh,
one up in his head. Like he just can't believe
poor
you know
fella.
they
Yeah.
lost at home. He'll say, "Then they lost at home." Like,
Does he shake you awake and say something like that?
no, no, he'll be watching on his phone while I'm watching something else or whatever, and I can
Mhm.
see him just like shaking his head and being all angry. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
funny.
Okay.
Um.
Alright.
Anyway, okay. What else do we need to talk about on hospital? What other? We had a
Oh,
little
I liked sorry, what were you gonna say, Gia?
nothing. You go.
Thanks. I think it was probably better than what you were thinking anyway.
Oh, bazinga!
No, it's not. No, I was thinking it was, I liked how Emma handled Gio when he came back to the beach, and I'm glad he came back to the beach after the beating he took from Dante.
Yeah, it's been kind of a long night though. Like, how long is this party
Yeah,
going on?
I don't know, but
Yeah, that was a nice scene. I like them together. I'm like,
yeah.
uh, I wish that he just wouldn't like buy into what Dante's saying about him, though. I wish he'd push back and be like, "Dude, you're being a douchebag. You're his father. How come you didn't know where he was?" Like,
Yeah, but I think Gio's a humble kid,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Dante's like, a cop and everything, and and he probably really respected Dante. That's the thing, who wouldn't love Dante?
yeah.
Because
I don't know
weren't
though.
he and Dante and weren't they sort of hanging like a lot together with Gio?
It seemed like it, yeah. When we
Yeah,
first were told that they were
yeah,
his
yeah.
parents, they like kept
Hmm.
throwing him together in scenes.
Yeah, so, I think that would be the impact of that
Yeah.
would be really traumatic for the young fella.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be
Yeah.
non-realistic to have these teenage boys and young adult boys like mouthing off and saying stupid stuff because in my experience they do that.
Yeah, that's true too, but just again on the other side,
It's
I
like
think
point counterpoint.
yeah.
Wrong.
I'm thinking that, this is sort of an awkward setting because they're all sort of guests in that house, and when you're a
Yeah,
guest, you kind of feel like when he's spoken up against Tracy. Actually, yeah, you've got a good point because he's willing to speak against Tracy sometimes. Geo has,
that's true. Yeah, he stood up about
so you would think
that. Yeah.
maybe he would speak up, but I guess, with Tracy, he felt she was clearly in the wrong, and in this situation, he's kind of feeling like maybe, he should have done more.
Yeah, yeah, he probably has some guilt about it all, but
Yeah, yeah.
when is it going to come crashing down on Dante that he's really the one that should feel guilty?
Yeah, and maybe that's eating at him in the background,
Let's
I
hope
just
so, 'cause
yeah, I
he
know.
blew off taking the boys to a game so that he
Yeah.
could listen to Lulu whine on and on about,
Yeah. Oh
um,
god, I know,
her
that was
obsession with
awful. Yeah.
Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really
I just can't stand the direction they're taking her character in right now, but,
no, me neither. And I don't know how this, like, once they do the big reveal with Geo, I feel like it's not gonna meet our expectations really on any level, the way they've sort of orchestrated all of this drama and stuff, you know?
yeah, it's gonna be bad though. Like I hate thinking about Lois and
Yeah.
Brooklyn and what'll happen
Mhm.
with that with their relationship. Like
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
that could be very bad.
True, true. Yep.
I don't know. I mean, they'll smooth it all over and eventually they'll be having
Mhm.
family dinners and all that crap. But
Mhm. Yeah. Another thing I was thinking, did you have your thing that you wanted to throw in there, Gia?
no, I got nothing.
Okay.
I was just
If
trying
you
to remember if we had any other characters that had big spots or moments. We had a little bit of
oh,
Willow. Um,
yeah, yeah, well, and I mean, it was nice that Isaiah was so sweet with her, and
yeah,
she kinda needs that to have the room to really think what she's thinking,
right, right. I mean, Nina's
Uh
being very supportive, but Nina's like also trying to manipulate her all the time.
Yeah, and she knows kinda how Nina feels, so she's
Yeah,
not gonna be able to really be open with her, really.
right.
I was gonna say when Chase and Brooklyn were out at the black dog, the brown dog, Vaughn's dog?
Yeah, Vaughn's dog. Yeah,
And Chase was talking about a baby, which, for one thing, that could be like years down the road waiting for a baby. But I was also thinking, what if they somehow like got the baby that was Molly's, that the surrogate
Oh,
You know?
oh, I like it.
Is
Yeah, that
that
the first weird surrogate, like, yeah,
yeah,
that was a
said
lot
she
of weirdness.
lost. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that could be fun. Yeah.
Could it?
Ooh,
Imagine the devastation. Would they wait?
yeah.
Would the Geo News wait, do you think? Would the which is gonna come first, the Geo News
Oh,
or
I
a
think the Geo News
baby?
has gotta come soon.
You
It's
think
gotta come
that's
soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They seem to be
okay.
moving at a pretty fast clip on things lately, which I
Yeah,
appreciate.
they do, so, yeah, I would like to see that sort of opened up and
Yeah, but
taken
that is
care of.
a good plot whisper. I'm hoping that happens.
Thank you.
Um, People were wrong about that,
The organ
Rocco
stuff.
Needed, yeah, the organ
Yeah.
thing.
All that
Although, I don't know,
research.
could he crash? Could he suddenly crash or something even though he already
Well,
seemed.
and that does happen on a soap opera.
Yeah,
You
like you
get
think you're out of the
comfortable and
woods
then
and then
boom,
yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
So,
boom, digitalis,
yeah.
Cyrus
Mhm.
comes along. No,
Mhm.
we haven't heard any little whisperings about Cyrus in ages.
No, we haven't, have we? He's
He's
been
just
all but
gone. He's
forgotten.
gone.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And Joss is dealing well with killing people. She hasn't suffered any sort of
Yeah, that's
backlash
true,
from that
that's
or
true.
anything.
Yeah, you're right, that she's forgotten about that too,
She's
hasn't
yeah,
she?
like yeah, it's like yeah, don't mess with me. You better pack a lunch. Like I
Mhm.
no remorse. Not that she should have remorse, but you
Right,
think that would
right.
have haunted her a little bit, just
Yeah, yeah.
the, the taking of a life kind of feeling.
Yeah, like, you'd think there'd be a flashback or something, here
Something,
and
yeah,
there.
something disturbing her
Yeah,
here and there. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
That's a
she's
good
been
point.
busy with
She
Vaughn.
has been busy, and nobody misses Cyrus, so she's got that going for her.
I miss Cyrus. I miss
Oh,
Cyrus.
oh, yeah,
I
okay.
miss Taggart. I miss Franco.
Yep, yep. I miss Kiki.
Oh, Kiki. I miss Laura's assistant,
Elaine, I think.
Elaine. Yeah.
Eileen, was it
Eileen. Oh,
Eileen?
I think it's Eileen. Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay,
And
mhm.
I wonder how her dog is.
Right, yeah, we're haunted by the dog. Mhm,
Worried about the dog. Yep. All those
mhm.
people.
Yeah,
Um.
mhm.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know if I have anything else. Yeah. I agree though. I liked that Isaiah was like they brought Isaiah in and made him seem like a cocky doctor thing, and they
Yeah,
seem to have sort of
yeah.
softened on that.
Yeah,
Um,
I like a gentle Isaiah.
a little more thoughtful.
Mhm, mhm. And did
Yeah.
you kind of feel like, Willow could really be attracted to this young fella,
That
If
would be
Drew
so much more palatable than she and
Yeah,
Drew.
yeah,
Like,
like, if Drew shows any more sorta hints that he's a scumbag and she sees these things, I think it would start to unravel pretty quickly, you know?
I'd love to have her look at him and then suddenly have him morph into a velociraptor, like have some like just
Yeah.
sort of hallucinations, like
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh,
I don't know what
right.
would happen there. Maybe her electrolytes would get off or something and she would.
Maybe. Her gut health maybe would be
Yeah.
compromised
I've been
somehow.
working on my electrolyte um balance lately.
And do you want to elaborate on that, Gio?
I don't know if it's made any big changes, but the old man brought back these little packets from the vitamin shoppy and
Ye olde vitamin shop.
the old vitamin shoppy. And he's always worried about my hydration level. So now we have these little
Ah,
packets that we mix in, and I've
mhm.
been mixing them in with seltzer, of course, and
Sure. Mhm.
so I have to chug one of those a day, and they're supposed to keep my electrolytes all
Oh,
balanced. They
okay.
taste awful. It's
Mm.
supposed to be like flavored, like, and it has some stevia, and it's like ugh.
Oh, okay.
But
Alright.
anyway, as we head into the hot portion of the year here,
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
vowing to keep our electrolytes in balance.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right? You can
Yeah.
make that a goal for yourself, although it really doesn't get much above 70 there, so you probably won't be sweating
Yeah.
it off too much. But
Probably not quite so much as down there where you are, but, yeah. Good luck with that, Gia. Good
anyway,
luck.
yeah, so if you don't balance your electrolytes, you can start seeing velociraptors.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
And I think that would be fun. Like when she starts to realize what Drew is all about, like,
Mhm.
don't you think she's just going to be so horrified and so,
She's gonna be vomiting all the time. She won't be able to stop vomiting.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
and she'll just be so horrified at herself, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's gonna be imagine that, like, everything she trashed, all the people that tried to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like yeah, having to look at herself and what she's
The choices she's made and
yeah,
and and
yeah.
I think I don't know who said it. Was it Portia and her little talk about,
Mm.
it's like she's digging her heels in because
Yeah,
of
yeah, right, right. Mhm.
like how she's put everything in her life on the line for this guy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it's got to be worth it. It has to be worth it.
Mhm. Right, right, exactly. And I was thinking, like, what was Portia's motivation there? Did she just wanna see if there was more evidence, or was
I
she
think so. It sounded
genuinely
like it.
yeah. So sh
I think
that
she was
was
just poking around for
yeah,
evidence. Yeah.
yeah, and trying to, like, use that, her concern as an
Yeah.
excuse. Yeah.
They both
Mm.
seemed very flinty in that
They
conversation. Very
sure
like,
did. Yeah, when Portia
yeah.
said she was gonna talk to her as a friend, it's like, "Yeah, who are you kidding?" You know?
Yeah. Portia's like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
gonna be something when Portia's wow, yeah.
Wow, yeah, and I know you're not a huge fan of Curtis, but I'm feeling like he's gonna be so blindsided by everything that's been going on
By all
behind
this.
the
No,
scenes.
I like Curtis. I think he's a good
Yeah,
character. I just don't.
yeah.
I wouldn't marry him because he's got these rules.
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
I'd be like, okay, and guess what? These are my rules.
What would your rules be? I'm curious.
That you can't have rules about me.
Touche. Yeah, yeah,
I don't
okay.
know, but I just think that's
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. It's very kind of
yeah.
like my way or the highway, and then I don't know. So
Mhm, mhm.
so no, but I like him. I think he's a good character, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I mean, I ultimately like that character is a good guy, but
yeah.
um, he's just a little bit of a bro.
Okay, alright. I think
No.
he's well, I kind of feel like and I'm not sure maybe I'm blaming Portia, I think I am. Like, she kinda wants that. As much as it's boxing her in, I think she likes sort of being, like, sort of made to feel like she has to be this, like, squealing woman, you know?
Mm,
I don't
maybe.
know. But he doesn't really treat Jordan at all that way, I don't
No,
think.
I know. See, like it may be kind of like we've talked about with Sonny before that Sonny, like the women that he's friends with, like that he,
Yeah.
like Laura and
Yeah, they're
Anna, like he
right,
treats
right.
completely different than the woman he's in a romantic relationship
Yeah,
with. And then
yeah.
it's this whole different
Mhm. Mhm.
pedestal kind of thing. And
Right,
they're,
right.
they're not really allowed to be fully realized humans or something.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, right, right.
And,
And the man wants to be the one they come to handle stuff, like, they shouldn't
yeah,
be
maybe that's kind of it. Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
But I think, I mean, that probably cuts both ways. There's probably lots of
Yeah.
women that, like you said, were saying that like want to be that kind of woman to have the man.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but it's
Yeah.
interesting that like in the friend zone, people
Mhm.
can allow each other to be all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me to be able to be that way, and then, have a relationship, as well, with that person.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think some guys and some women just like they have this. I don't know. Maybe it's been warped from TV and
Mhm.
movies and books,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
it's their Heathcliff or whatever,
Yeah.
whoever.
Uh-huh. Right.
Do you have a more modern
More on
reference?
reference.
Yeah, than
Mm.
Heathcliff. Who could it be?
Almanzo. Is that the guy?
From Little House on the
Yeah.
Prairie. Okay, I guess that's moving it forward a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know. Oh boy.
He had a stroke really early on in their married life.
Yeah, Amanzo did? I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
He had
you'd have
nice
to
hair,
read
as
a
I
lot of
recall.
like history. Are you talking about the TV show now or the
Yeah,
books?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, how do you know he had nice hair?
Oh, man, I think we really impressed everyone tonight. Oh god.
I couldn't really. I did watch a lot of the TV show, but I was always disgusted with their departure from the
From
reality
the
of the books.
Yeah, I know that. I think I sort of wrestled with that too, but then I saw Almanzo.
It's not there.
Alright, we've got a show.
All right, we got a live one now.
Quit your whining about not having any heat or food.
Oh, okay. I guess we could probably wrap it up there, huh, sister?
I think we should have done that
Okay.
quite a while ago, but yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we
Alright.
appreciate everybody listening,
We do. We really
and any
do.
messages about badgers or people's names or any of that stuff.
Anything that you feel like we should hear.
Yeah. You know what? You should post something and then they can comment, like
Okay, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Alright, I'll think about that, yeah.
Her voice sinks. Oh god.
Oh, dear.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you have a lovely evening and we'll keep
You
watching and
too.
we'll talk again.
Yeah, okay, Gia, you have a good night.
All right, you too. See ya.
Okay, bye.